Shalom, TaNaKh Wisdom. In Psalms 110, it's a psalm of David, and he is prophesying about the Messiah's reign, about Yeshua HaMashiach's reign. And it says, verse 1, Yahweh said to my master, sit at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool. Yahweh will send the rod of your strength. That's the word awaz, invincibility, being strengthened to protect from danger. It says Yahweh will send the rod of your strength out of Zion. Sion, Zion, two words. Sawa, the word for commandment, and zone, the word for protect sheep. That's the word for sheep. So he will send invincible strength out of the protected sheep. In other words, Zion, Israel. And he says, rule in the midst of your enemies. Radah, dominate. Exert excessive power in the midst of your enemies. Key verse, verse 3. Your people will be volunteers in the day of your power. It's prophesying about the time when Yeshua will be reigning, when he establishes his kingdom in the earth. And he says, your people will be volunteers. The word volunteer is nadav, nun dalet vet, and which means to be a giver, one who's free and independent, and one who associates freely. So he says, your people, that's a volunteer, your people will be volunteers in the day of your power, free and independent, associate freely, but then they choose to. The previous upload was about the model prayer. Our Father, who art in the heavens, your kingdom come, your will be done, as it is in heaven, established in the earth. That's a daily prayer. We volunteer to give way to the will of the Father each day, to function as citizens in his kingdom. So it says, your people will be volunteers in the day of your power, in the beauties of being prepared for tasks. From the womb of the shachar, they translate it as morning, but it's shachar, it's the dawn when the sun rises and breaks up the darkness, and we can distinguish now. It's a time when search is possible. We can distinguish things away from the darkness because of the light, right? And he says, you have your due of your youth. In other words, our youth will be being renewed like the dew in the morning. It's freshness, the freshness, always freshness. And we'll be ruling and reigning and being invincible in establishing the revelation of his kingdom in all the earth. Yahweh has sworn, verse 4, and will not relent. You are priests forever according to the order of Melchizedek. And we know in Hebrews, it talks about the great high priest, Yeshua HaMashiach, after the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek, king of righteousness, king of making corrections and righting wrongs. And we also know that in Matthew chapter 16, Yeshua gave us the keys to the kingdom. And in Luke chapter 22, verse 29, he says, I bestow upon you a kingdom, just as my Father has bestowed upon me, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And we know that the bride of the Messiah, in Revelations chapter 21, the New Jerusalem, the bride of the Messiah, and in Romans chapter 9 and 11, that the bride of the Messiah is Israel. It was satanic for them to separate Israel of the first covenant from the bride in the second covenant, which is still Israel. And so each day the prayer, Father, I give way, my will, set it aside for yours to be done, in and through me to reveal the reign of your presence in every place throughout the earth. Your people will be volunteers in the day of your power. So that's why each day, brand new day, to rise with the sun and ascend with its light, to establish the reign of Yahweh Elohim in Yeshua HaMashiach through you and me. Shalom, TaNaKh Wisdom.